Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Tell me, boy.
I'm paranoid, I'm paranoid, I'm paranoid, bitch, I'm paranoid, I'm paranoid, I'm paranoid, I'm paranoid, bitch, I'm paranoid.
Check on your dudes, ladies and gentlemen. Dudes, lives matter. Testicles 1, 2, testicles. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is Paranormal Radio Podcast, and I am your humble host, Trebles Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Do not forget to drop us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Now, check us out at paranormalradio.com. Free gear, free merchandise for the people that collaborated with us, and also you get to stream for free absolutely on a global scale on paranormalradio.com. You can also check us out on every single podcast platform. Enough of the fucking bullshit. I have an amazing episode lined up for all of you guys with a setup of have a 3-headed dragon here. They're an amazing podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce, jump from the deep end of the pool and set the fucking mood. Please welcome host of the Occult Rejects podcast and Instagram page, The Legends, Nick, a.k.a. NY Patriot, Headless, and Theresa. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen?
Good, great.
Good,
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you for being here today, guys. I heard with little birdie that you guys can't be found on Instagram. Please let them know your fucking handle. Yeah.
Myself, I have the Occult Rejects. I do have that on Instagram, and then I don't know like if Theresa wants to, but I know Headless has his own tag, his own handle as well. You know, that's the other thing too about everybody that I work with on the Occult Rejects consistently. They all have their own shows as well too. So, you know,
collaboration here is amazing. Yeah, I fucking love that shit.
Yeah, you'll have tons and tons of stuff to listen to if you just came across the show for the first time.
Damn. All right, Theresa, let's go with you first. Where can they find you?
Sure. So, other than the Occult Rejects, I also have the Spiritual Gangsters podcast, which is on all the major podcast platforms. Also, I'm part of Midnight Mysteries Radio, which is another Canadian podcast. I'm Canadian, by the way. Yeah. So that one's all about like cryptids, sleep paralysis, like really wild, weird topics. I love that show. So yeah, you can find all that at my Linktree, on my Twitter, which is TS Gangsters Pod, or Instagram. I'm like taking a little bit of a hiatus, so maybe don't find me there. Just come find me on Twitter is better.
It gets exhausting, believe it or not. Running a show, being a host of the show, networking, and then doing the research, and then do the art, and then you have to hit them up, and then you can't take some time off, and then you got 2 daughters, and then you have to shave your heads on Fridays. Says
while you feed your kids, it's while you feed your kids,
and calling for your insurance claim on your fucking phone. That is amazing, dude.
It's too much. I just find Instagram is saturated for me. So better Twitter. I think I can use that for the podcast moving forward, basically.
I hear you. You know what it is? You got to break through those fucking algorithms. Headless, where can they find you, bro?
You can find me on Instagram at Headless Giant. I got a bunch of nice pictures of beavers because I saw a beaver the other day, right?
Yo, that was good though. That was
yeah. This beaver is like right up close to me. I had no idea that they were, this sort of like apathetic towards humans. But yeah, I put a bunch of beaver pics up there, and you can find me on X too. You just look up Headless Giant, and you can go to my spaces on Friday nights. We got the Future is Ancient space on Twitter, so check that out.
Yeah, hell yeah! I thought you were about to say a headless beaver. That would have been fucking cool.
All of us have our mind in the gutter. We're like,
a hairless beaver.
And headless. Oh shit, that's a fucking hybrid. Look at that. A fucking mutant beaver, bro.
Chimera beaver.
Trim.
Yo, New York Patriot Nick. What's up, big dog? How's it going, dude? Thank you for being here. Where can they find you, dude?
Yeah, I have the Occult Rejects, and I did used to have the NY Patriot show. The RSS link is still up, but it's just everything's on the Occult Rejects now. It was just senseless for me to have 2 different RSS feeds, basically talking about the same stuff on each show. So
yeah, make sure you check them out, ladies and gentlemen. You could also find them once this show drops on paranormalradio.com under the special guest and links tab. Make sure you check them out, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's jump into it, guys. You guys specialize on, I guess, just centralizing on occult rejects, you guys centralize on planetary magic and gematria. Now, there's a lot of there's a lot of fucking things to talk about. But first of all, center into your show, occult rejects. What are you guys doing? What's next? And then dive into it, bro. Gematria. Yeah, good stuff.
When it comes to, I guess, like a lot of the topics, I would say that like even I've done with Theresa and Headless. I don't know if those are actually so much really gematria heavy, but there is a lot of stuff on the occult rejects that I've done with other people that is very big with gematria. And when it comes from like that aspect, for people who probably don't even know what this is, I mean, gematria is pretty much taking numerical value, which, believe it or not, probably like 90% of like, from what I've come across and what I've read from people's opinions, probably about 90% of like languages at the time of conception, there are like every letter is already given like a numerical value, actually.
Bam.
So like this is actually probably important, but a lot of people, I don't know if it just gets confusing, and sometimes when you don't understand something, you fear it and you blow it off. But I do take into account that stuff sometimes because, you can have a numerical value of a word that could maybe equal something else that like maybe not be the best, or like even this, like this as an example, there's a lot of times where like we'll go and like run things and you'll start seeing like either phrases or like hot words that are going on right now. And you start to wonder, like, like, is there something going on with that? Was this like, I'm just gonna put it out there. I forgot what it matched. It wasn't anything good, but like, let's go, Brandon. Match something fucked up. So now you have all these people saying this shit over and over and over and over and over.
I've heard of this before.
What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Or even just the whole meme thing. Memes are huge. And just seeing certain phrases or words sometimes getting posted around that might equal something else. I also do believe that a lot of occultists, especially ones probably from like the 15 and 1600s. I mean, I would say from then on, probably consistently, a lot of them do admit that they have written shit in ciphers. So then it's like you don't even understand what you're probably even reading to begin with, unless you start getting into gematria, which is like numerical value. And then again, gematria is just really Hebrew. I mean, there's Greek gematria, then you can get into like Pythagoras, for English, that stuff. And then there's even different schools of things with kind of numerical value and breaking things down. But it was believed by a lot of, I guess, great thinkers, occultists. And again, like I said, if the alphabet is given like numerical value to it at the beginning, there might be something there. A lot of times they even say they think a lot of times numbers was actually a way of them drawing something they were trying to express.
Like the Chinese letters.
Yeah. Or even look like, like a lot of Arabic stuff too.
Headless?
Hebrew.
Right. So I think when it comes to gematria, it's really important to know that it does actually originate sort of in the Greek period and really, really early on in the Greek period. And so when it transforms over to Hebrew gematria, it takes on a new sort of form. And that form really carries on because of the importance of the Bible, right? So the Bible gematria is really where it started taking off. So when people started looking into the book and getting all these numerical values from these things, they're like, it relates to other things. But the reason why it was so important for the Greeks is because it created a harmony. Right. So when you make rhyming words, right, you make a harmony, right? You make this sort of harmonic convergence. When you're making these
orchestra,
right?
Yeah.
So when you're making these geometric values, when you're making these numbers match up, then you're creating another harmony, right? And this is sort of like the subconscious energy of these languages that is sort of transferred in a way that maybe is subliminal. Right. And this subliminal power is really what all these occultists are after. This is why the ciphers are important. This is why all these things occur as signs in reality. They're trying to make these subconscious harmonies. And so, gematria is really important when it comes to that. But there's also, like you were talking about, planetary magic. So you've got these 7 primary numbers, right? So the 7 planets, the 7 primaries, really transfer over really well to music, right? This is where Pythagoras comes in. He
Nice.
talks
That's
about the
pretty cool.
monochord, right? And so having that understanding and how these things converge together and create harmonies gives you a better picture of the subconscious reality that we're living in. Because it's not just the the words people say. Words are like a brush stroke, right, on a painting. So once you get that feeling of what they're saying, it's important to go deeper and look at some of the subconscious meanings that might be present.
The intention, yeah.
Right.
I hear you. If I may inject, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so check this out. And Theresa, you're gonna come in right now with the spiritual essence of this, because I know that has to do with it too. Check it out. I have a sparring partner. He's my fourth leg. He's the fourth edition to Paranoid, but he's still in the back. But he's my biblical sparring partner every day. So I learned that wherever there's two or more people speaking about Jesus, and one, that's mass, baby. So we go to mass every single fucking morning. And I talk to this school every single day. He brings a Bible verse and we fucking go at it. Oh, fuck you, this, that, and we talk about stuff like this. So we're talking about linguistics, right? So check this out. Just recently found out that this is my theory here. Peter wasn't only an apostle, but I think he was gay, because he did tell Jesus Christ to rub him down completely full body wise. That's biblical. Check it out. Hashtag look it up. This is just me fucking theorizing here, but check this out. He also spoke towards the end of this whole show, where after Jesus died, he spoke to a mass where a bunch of people with different languages were attending. And he spoke a language that every single ear was able to listen to understand. And to them, if it was French, if it was Portuguese, if it was Chinese, etc., whatever it was called, every single person that was listening to this this person talk was listening to him in their own native language. Okay, so this is where Protestants get it wrong, and they start speaking in tongues, etc. But for example, he was hitting those harmonic notes with that special tongue that to them it resonated in their fucking brain frequencies, and it was able to fucking cultivate something in their faculties to understand what he was saying, filled with emotion, intent, vibration. You know what I'm saying, right?
You know what that makes me think of? And like, not to take it out there, I'm not saying this makes this experience bad either, but like, you can put out certain frequencies that actually make people see stuff.
Obviously.
Now this is
what it's all about. Yeah.
This is the big thing why I go, like, sometimes I go to Yale and I'll go look at books from the 1700s. Now they're in a completely different language. I can't fucking read them, but they have emblems in them, huge, gigantic. And a lot of the artists say, if you can't understand the language, but you understand the art, you'll understand what's inside the book.
This is why art.
So you don't need all those languages. You just need, I don't want to take it out there where like something's actually creating visions in people's eyes, but you could do that with sound. Sound could be almost a universal thing if you want to start fucking with frequencies, and
it gets fucked in your fucking subconscious. Theresa, what you got to say about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're referring to in the Bible is probably Pentecost, which is actually coming up shortly. So it's actually celebrated this Sunday. When the Holy Spirit came upon the apostles, and then they were able to speak in such a manner that everybody could understand.
But it wasn't one language. It was the language of everybody.
Somehow. It's the Holy Spirit, man. I don't know how it works. It's above my pay grade. I don't know. But
it's above the spiritual characters.
Yeah, I know. But basically going off of what Nick and Headless were saying, like, I'm not as well versed in gematria as they are. I do understand it a little bit. But to me, it's almost like the computer language of the Matrix, right? Like, if we're in this universe, is obviously created by a creator. Gematria is just like breaking out like that Turing computer language, like the ones and the zeros, but in a more complex manner that gives us like language form. And basically, it's like the cymatics of spoken word, right? So like, yes, you could be saying, let's go, Brandon, but the frequency of it is indicating something else. Just like when you listen to a piece of music, how does everybody around the world understand the feeling of music when it's heard? You know, we're picking up the frequency. We're interpreting that emotionally. How in our mind, we're understanding it in a different manner, beyond language, right?
I thought that was interesting. Not to interrupt, just real quick. I wanted to add this in. Like when I was in Italy recently, and like, there'll be people singing American songs, but actually don't speak English.
But they know the feeling that it's supposed to give. Yeah, right. Totally. Just like I love Latin music, I love Italian music, classical. Like I don't know what the heck like they're saying. I
They're
always
in
say
it, they're
I
in
always joke
English.
because I teach Zumba, right? So I always joke I don't speak Spanish, but I'm fluent in reggaeton. I'm fluent.
Damn.
Okay?
I hear you. Yo,
I
yo.
know what you're saying. I don't have to understand the words. So
Yo,
there you go.
let me plus there's a very powerful fucking military presence in Italy with the Marines in the United States. So I know for a fact that the United States have big influence in culture and culture sculpting in that area of the world. So I mean that goes with everything. But kind of like what Headless
Oh, you
was
know
saying.
what? That didn't interrupt, but like I was even saying that to Teresa and a few other people. I mean, I believe me, I love the experience. It was definitely the best vacation I've ever gone on. But like, I did realize in a way, I was like, yo, like, what would this country be if it wasn't for us fucking tourists coming to these spots I went to?
Right.
Like, I was just kind of like, yo, like, it was just like really weird. I was like, somehow we probably fucked this place up too.
You could apply that. You could apply that to Israel, and not to be this. I'm not trying to get political here. I'm not trying to get political here at all. At all.
Go
but
for it.
if you want to talk about Israel having all that powerful religious attention focused in that corner of that top side of Africa,
My parents,
and not Ethiopia or any other place where it's also holy land that's never been conquered.
right? My
You see what I'm
parents,
saying, right? You see what I'm saying, right? Same thing. It's the same fucking thing.
Ethiopia, some of those are some of the serious Jews out there, man.
yeah.
And the oldest Christians. The
fucking
oldest,
hear shit about them.
yeah. Right?
My parents went to Israel last year
Huh.
as tourists going to the Holy Land, right? To visit the, place where it all started. And it's so amazing how controlled they keep every group coming from America and keep them on the idea of Zionism the whole time, right?
It's
so
obvious.
they're just
Yeah.
pounding that in their heads. Right. And so they've got all these tourists that they're basically trying to brainwash into, sending more money to Israel and all the rest of this stuff. And there are really interesting places that they stop. Like my dad stopped at Gilgal Raphaim. And this is the last Nephilim king that is in Hebron. And they've got a big mound for him there. And you can just come and visit as a tourist.
Okay. Yo. On my episode 200, we went deep into every single 100 and 200 and then 300 is gonna be about crop circles. And I just found out that mounds is old school Nephilim technology. You want to come at me?
Dude, yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's
right? Okay.
That's what this place is. It's a fucking mound in Israel. It's called the Gilgal Raphaim, and it is totally all about the Nephilim, right?
Gilgal,
Raphaim is
like
one of
Gilgamesh?
No, like the Golan Heights. Another name for it is Gilgal, which
There's a reason why there's all these civilizations, and the biggest obelisks and monuments are on mounds, bro. Philadelphia on a mound.
7 mounds
LA,
around Washington.
Exactly. See what I'm saying, right? And they're amplifying energetic frequencies of control. This is why in music they call it 808 bass. You know,
we talked about this on the episode about the oldest secret society in America. Have you ever heard of the Society of the Cincinnati?
Wait. Cincinnati. That's a good one. That's a new one. Wait, what?
Okay.
Hit it.
Society of the Cincinnati. This is really interesting. They started because of this Roman emperor named Cincinnatus, right? And Cincinnatus was the first emperor who started as a farmer, became emperor, and then went back to being a farmer. They thought George Washington was the reincarnation of Cincinnatus, that he was one of the first members of the Society of the Cincinnati. It is a hereditary military junta. The only people who are allowed to join are related to the original founders of this country from
God,
British side. Yeah.
Get out,
And
dude. Get the fuck out, dude. No.
1783. I swear to God,
No,
man.
there was just
You've never heard of
the
it.
Masons.
I need to see
the Masons to deal with the
Look up their website, Society of the Cincinnati.
I
It's
need
right
to
there.
look
They say it's a hereditary military junta since 1783.
I need to see the fucking landline. No, not the landlines. Longitude and what's it called? The other one. The other one's called.
It's in DC.
I need to see.
You
I need
can
to see the
actually go
code.
in there.
And then I need to see what date the fucking state of Cincinnati was adopted or opened or whatever, right? Incorporated, and then fuck it up with gematria because it's gonna connect
Cincinnati.
100%.
Cincinnati is where the mounds are that they built on. That's what I was going to get to.
Oh,
The Society
God,
of
dude.
Cincinnati built on top of the mounds in Cincinnati just for that reason.
Holy fucking shit, boss. Ladies and gentlemen, you could find them. This middle of the show, guys. Let them know where they can find you one more time. Each of you, Theresa, let them know where they can find you.
Spiritual Gangsters podcast, Midnight Mysteries Radio, all on my link tree. Hit me up on X, Twitter, whatever you call it. TS Gangsters Pod.
Headless, let them know, bro. For a headless motherfucker, you got a fat ass head, bro.
Thank you. You can find me on X at Headless Giant, and you can find me on Instagram, Headless Giant. Just check it out.
Yo, Nick, let them know, bro.
The Occult Rejects. You can find that on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and all major podcasts.
Damn. Hey, we're having a badass show, bro. I'm having fun, bro. Having fun.
Yo,
Yo,
something I wanted to say.
yeah.
The Headless was done because it was weird how he said frequencies with these mounts. Because there is another thing, and I'm pretty sure Headless, if he hasn't been on the show, I'm sure like he's heard me say it somehow, and I'm pretty sure Teresa's been on for me to mention this. But even covering true crime, well, for one, even with like certain ones that might be smiley face killers, there's mounds involved. But something that I've also noticed a lot too with some of the true crime I've been covering, and it's been driving me nuts because like even me and I think Lisa was the one who did most of the gematria shows with me, you're getting the same numbers constantly that like are coming up when you start like crunching the numbers or like looking at dates and times. You get like almost the same fucking code to like what equals like death or mass murder.
Almost Zodiac.
And it's
killer
like,
type
when
of
you talk
vibe,
about
right?
like the mounds and frequencies, I'm like, is that what's giving off that mass? That makes
It's
that
like
happen?
looking at the Matrix code, you know, the green like screen with the numbers
It
running,
keeps
and it's
repeating.
like
It keeps telling
you
you.
can just like start to read it, right? One thing I
Mhm.
was gonna add about gematria, I'm assuming, you know, if you are of the occult and in like, you know, a black magic sense, let's say, you could hijack the system, right? So if you understand, you know, what these frequencies, what the input makes for an output, you could try to hijack it by making you know, a mass ritual in a concert or an election slogan or a
Music,
text
just
line.
music too.
Yeah, music, right? Like you can start to
That one kid's
manipulate
concert where those people dropped.
the Astroworld. Oh my God, don't even get me started on Astroworld.
I think that had to do with frequencies. That's just my opinion.
For
Oh, yeah, that's
sure.
what he
believe
was
it.
singing. That's what he was singing
So-
when they were fucking flopping dead.
Yeah.
I got a quick example of how these mounds might work. So Wisconsin has that's the state I live in, right? So it's always been like the breadbasket state. And Wisconsin specifically, like it's always been bountiful. There's always been plenty of game. There's always been plenty of places to plant. It's just a very bountiful state. Well, in this state, we have the most amount of effigy mounds, right? So these are the mounds that actually have like deer and antelope and all these really interesting creatures, and they built them into piles on the ground. Like, who's that for? You know? And I think it might be related. Like, we're a very, very cold climate. There's no reason why we should be this bountiful. You know, like every harvest basically feeds America and then some. That's a lot of food being produced here, you know? And I think the two are related. Like, it was always supposed to be sort of the breadbasket. That's why they built it in the shapes that they did with all of the effigies that they use. So there could be a link there.
You know what? I gotta look into that. I didn't know that. Wisconsin feeds a lot of mouths, huh?
Isn't
Look at that,
Wisconsin
dude.
also known for cheese?
Exactly.
Yeah,
There you go.
They get a lot of Angus beef from there, maybe, or something like that.
A
Damn.
ton of beef. Yeah.
Yeah,
Moved to Green
That's
Bay.
very interesting. Oh, fucking
Notice
hey,
those
dude.
stickers when I'm at Stop and Shop looking at steaks
Yo,
That's so
from
funny.
Wisconsin.
I
What is the
ran
snake
into
mound?
I ran into the snake mound in Ohio. That's just a trip,
Right.
a fucking trip, dude. Because it's not a snake being born from the egg. It's actually a snake eating the motherfucking egg, and the egg represents Adam and Eve and the fucking sin. It's biblical. I'm telling you, dog. There's a lot of shit here connected, and it's fucking sick. All right, so check this out. I want to get into the planetary magic, because I also know I've heard this on many shows before, and I was trying to put it to the test. So when I was younger, I was very big into astrology. I'm a Capricorn. In Chinese astrology, I'm the golden horse. And, you know, I was trying to like, who the fuck am I, right? and still haven't found myself. I found myself now through paranoid, but still, I was trying to like get connected to like the stars. And I found out that gematria, numbers, and cosmetology, degrees in different houses and different things, you could almost predict what's going to happen in the future. Shed some light, bro. What is planetary magic?
You want to take that first, Headless?
Oh no, I was
know how
gonna
much
let
you're-
you. Dude,
Oh, okay.
you were involved in the entire fucking operation there with Golden
Wait,
Dawn.
there's an
They're all
operation
about
in
that.
planet.
The OTO.
Oh yeah, OTO. Yeah. Why do I
Oh,
keep
yeah,
screwing
there
that
you
up?
It's all right. It's all right. Planetary magic. That was actually something I was really big into when I was a practicing, I guess, ceremonial magician. And I guess with that, it's because it allowed me to start, I guess, adopting so many things to it. Because like you could take the Kabbalah tree of life, and then like let's say I want to work with this Jupiter. I could put it on the fourth sphere where it would be on the tree of life, and then that in itself is just going to assign it so many different things that I could use. There's gods that will be associated with that, angels, archangels,
Hmm.
elements, just like so many different things. Tarot. Then you can start using tarot,
Yeah.
as well.
Fortune telling.
So planetary magic, but with that, the whole idea behind that really, I mean, I look at these rituals two different ways now since I started and since I've stopped doing them. I do think in a sense, in the way that it's kind of like taught and understood from the masses, planetary magic would be almost a little bit more of advanced magic. When you first start off in magic, like let's say for me as a ceremonial magician, I would start off with elemental magic. So like my first rituals would start being the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram. And basically I would just be like removing all elemental influences on me and kind of cleaning off having a clean slate and going on my day and just hoping things go well. It's like a way of cleansing yourself. Then if you want to get like a little crafty, you can maybe start invoking specific energies. If you want to start taking in some of those qualities.
Oh wow.
Something.
Uh-huh.
And that would be earth, air, water, and fire. Now like if you want to start getting a little bit more detailed, if you want to start getting into like night, I mean, you could do talismans, elemental talismans, but you can also start attributing talismans and amulets, and you start getting artistic with it too if you want to. But like,
Can it get dark?
oh yeah, it all depends on what you want to do.
Holy fuck!
That's a crazy thing. Pretty much, I mean, there's the good and the bad of every idea.
Is there a specific language you must speak, or only English?
I don't, tell you the truth, most of the rituals I did probably really weren't much of an English to begin with. Like one was most of them were probably Hebrew or Greek.
Right? Okay, here we go. Get back to the numbers and linguistics.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never even like thought of that. But now when I go and do my own stuff, like there's like a certain like with the ritual, the pentagram, there's like a certain way that you just do it, and there's certain things that you say. Now, if you want to start adding your own stuff in the middle of things, obviously, I mean, for me, I was doing that in English, but when I did the actual ritual as it was written, I did the language that it was done in. But
I'm gonna get a little complex here in this question. So check this out, guys. For example, Headless said, when you're speaking, you do a harmonic orchestra. This is why when rappers are ciphering, they must connect with the beat. Cipher, bam, it blows up. Everybody, oh yeah, that's what's up, that's cool. Even if he didn't fucking say anything important, he said something that rhymed with the song and it made everybody feel good because in its emotional balance, it brings your emotions up and down. It's a fucking wave you're riding. Okay.
Right.
Now, planetary magic, casting spells, etc., etc. Do you have if they're all connected to numbers? And if it's all connected to numbers, there has to be a set of numbers that are odd and even. Which one's evil? Which one's fucking positive? I mean, fuck, bro. Think about this shit. What? I mean, you could only go around so many times in a cycle until you hit. Oh fuck, that's a negative frequency. Bam, my spell's fucked up. This guy's not turning into a goat. He's gonna turn into a fucking frog, and you have to kiss the frog and become a prince. Whatever.
I think it's important to make a kind of a distinction there. So I think it's more about positive and negative are masculine and feminine. right? So the feminine takes in and then the masculine puts out. And so when you're talking about these different frequencies and the positive and the negative, the messages you're attaching to those positive numbers or negative numbers might actually have a well, not negative, but even and odd, right? You've got that aspect too. So these different even and odd numbers are going to be receptive or projective. And so based off of that, you could probably make a ritual using those numbers in that sequence. But I think it really goes back to the meaning. And if you're putting a lot of meaning into gematria as well as trying to match it up with the beat with gematria, you've got at least one association or two more that can be made from that. So it's like when it comes to occultism, it's all about how many associations you can make, right? So they have these huge books of just nothing but correspondences. And so the more correspondences you're adding, the more power it's going to have, because you're creating meaning on multiple different levels.
This is kind of when they say it's not about what you do, it's who you know.
Right.
Yeah. What,
Right.
Another thing I want to say, I'm glad Headless mentioned that whole like kind of thing with negative and positive. Another way I like to try to explain that too would be like, I guess like, electricity and I guess like being grounded. If you have electricity and it's grounded, you'll light up everything in your house and everything will be nice and this and that. If it's not grounded, you might burn your hand or stop your heart. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of need a little bit of both for it to actually.
They need to both. It says that
Yeah.
it's duality, as above, so below, so within, etc. Yeah, I hear you.
I did want to add on to this to kind of like answer your question a little bit. I think honestly, I mean, I'm sure, the numbers have something to do with it, but honestly, it goes before that. I think it honestly depends on what's going on in your head and what you're doing. That's
The
really
intent.
the intent's really going to determine, what's going on,
Yeah, something I was gonna add too, just about like the gematria and the planetary magic in general, is like in the Bible, in the book of Ephesians, it talks about how we deal with powers and principalities, right? So sometimes when I see recurring gematria numbers, I often think, is this like a calling card for what principality, what power is behind this certain ritual, this certain event, right? So if we look at, like 9/11, I'm sure a lot of the numbers that come up is all the same. Or then if we look at like, the Idaho 4 case or like Gilgo Beach, like, these numbers are always the same recurring numbers. And it's when you ask Angel about like what's good and what's bad, I mean, we could maybe use our common sense to look at those numbers and be like, maybe that represents, something a little more negative, a little more positive. Having said that, God is always going to use, I mean, I believe anyway, God is always going to use even negative events for our highest good. Like the role of evil is to push us toward good in the end. So, I mean, is it really like a negative principality or a negative power, or is it just all under God and it's just like, he's making the computer program a certain way for a certain output? I don't know.
I must add, there's also cycles, and this connects the numerology, the linguistics with the cosmo magic. It combines it all because in cycles, I don't think time repeats itself. I think it echoes. And that's why myth becomes legend. I mean, legend becomes myth, right? History. And if you might just let me add here, 9/11, the same year that the United States of America adopted 911 as the number of emergency on a national scale was the year that the Twin Towers had just finished being built. Hashtag look it up. That's not a fucking lie. So it echoed.
Weird.
You see what I'm saying, right? And then you have today, everybody's on the blackout to fucking put all these. This is what I was talking about on my fucking rant today. I had to cut it short because I was 5 minutes in just talking shit to everybody. I was getting everybody by the fucking neck, coming out of them like a spider monkey. Dude, I swear to fucking God. I came in and I was like, you know what? Even this blackout shit. June 3rd, I'm sorry. The blackout square came out. And everybody was like, oh, Black Squared on Instagram.
Oh, yeah,
but everybody forgot about fucking Hillary Clinton. And then BLM came out, right? Cool. And now who's, the blackout list. Another blackout list on a fucking, on election year, right? Coincidentally, fuck that shit. It's true. And it happens again. You actually think that blocking out these people in their own platform and you're still using these platforms, streaming on these platforms, putting out content on these fucking platforms, you honestly think they're gonna be broke? No, energy cannot be destroyed. It can only evolve. It can only fucking be transferred. You're putting money in their pocket to the other fucking pocket while your pocket's still fucking empty. It's truth, bro. It's just, you have to, I'm not chaotic. I'm not a black pill chill here, but it's truth, bro. You have to understand. I've been doing this for a very long fucking time, and I see the fucking trends. There's cycles. The 8th of every month, 2 days after. This is Cosmo Magic every day. The 8th of every month.
Crazy eights, as I call it, crazy eights. Yeah.
Crazy eights. You have 4 days on top or 4 days after, depending on the house, but it's always on that fucking cycle. This is why we're about 10 days out from the 3rd of June, where this whole blackout list is happening. Watch something happen on the 8th. If you go back, Mar-a-Lago was fucking ready on the 8th. Maui fires happened on the fucking 8th. And that's just the top 2 that I'm trying to pick here that I remembered. If you go back the last fucking 36 months, you'll see something happened from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
It's a fucking cycle. It echoes. And this is, again, cosmetology, magic, using linguistic fucking frequencies trying to fuck you up. Bam.
So who's programming it? Who's calling the
Satan.
shots?
It has to be Satan. This is his kingdom. He's the author of all lies.
Again, the powers and principalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going back, that's our enemy.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Crazy shit, man. We had a blast.
Oh yeah.
Yo, Headless. Let them know where they can find you, big dog.
You can check me out, Headless Giant, on Instagram and on X.
That's right. Nick, what's up, big dog? You're mighty quiet over there, bro. What you got, bro? Where they can find you, bro?
The Occult Rejects, that's on, I'm actually on YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble, and all major podcasts. And you can find the Occult Rejects on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah,
Facebook,
Theresa. Let them know.
Yeah, the Spiritual Gangsters podcast everywhere. Also, Midnight Mysteries Radio and TS Gangsters Pod on X.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be featuring all 3 of them on a special guest and links tab on paranoidradio.com. Make sure you check us out. Check them out. You won't follow. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts on their shows that allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace out, everybody. Thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. God bless.
Paranoid Radio.